Thanks for joining us for today's workout. I'm so glad you're here. Today we have Coach Pam, who's going to show you how to do each of the exercises with her own body weight and with dumbbells, including ways to modify each exercise to your fitness level. So if any of the exercises are a little too easy, she's going to show you how to make them a little more challenging. And then we have super success story Ken here, who's going to be doing exercises both body weight and resistance bands, and he's also going to show you how to do the exercise a little bit easier, just in case any of the exercises are too challenging. So please refer to either Pam or Ken as we go through this workout and modify it to your fitness level. And just be sure to use really good form, do your best, and let's get after it. All right, this exercise is called bicep isometrics. You can either use resistance bands or dumbbells with your feet about shoulder width apart, and you're just gonna curl up and hold about halfway up in a static position. So the key is you're not moving up and down. And this exercise, you're just holding it. So you're really fighting the resistance the entire time. And you can vary the position each time you do this exercise, or even each set if you wanna maybe raise it up a little bit, just like that, or even have it in a little bit lower position, just like that. And if you need to lower the intensity to make it a little bit easier, you can use lighter resistance bands, or even just take a break after a couple seconds. That's totally fine. To make it a little bit more challenging, you can use a little bit heavier dumbbells, so you're getting in that static position and holding, keeping your elbows right at your side, and you'll really feel your biceps burning. So let's do about 2 more seconds and then move on to a minute of cardio. Let's go. All right, let's now do jump squats. Go. So they're squatting all the way down, making sure that their knees aren't going farther forward than their toes. They're just squatting down and then jumping up as high as they can. This is another pretty challenging exercise. So to make it a little bit easier, you can just stand up, squat down, and just stand up without jumping, or not even squat down quite as far. If you need to, you can take a break at any time. Again, this is a really challenging exercise. If you need to make this more challenging, you're just squatting down faster and then really jumping up higher and doing faster. Good, that's excellent. Now this is going to be hard to maintain because this is a really hard exercise. So you can do what's called interval training and really go hard and fast for a few seconds and then slow it down and even take a break if you need to. You guys have just a little less than 10 seconds left. I'm sorry, 10 seconds now. 8 seconds left. You're doing great. Finish up strong. You got just 3 seconds left. Good job, and that's it. Let's go on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called front shoulder raise. You want to have your feet pretty close together, about shoulder width apart, and your palms facing down with either resistance bands in your hand or dumbbells. And go ahead and raise up to right in front of your face. Hold for a second and come down nice and slow. You want to have just a slight bend in your elbow. Come up and hold, and then nice and slow down. Excellent. You guys are doing really good. And if you need to make this a little bit easier, you can just use lighter resistance bands, or you can take a break, for a couple seconds. If you need to make it a little bit more challenging, you just use heavier weights. Though this is a pretty challenging exercise, so make sure you don't sacrifice form for just, going heavier weights. So really focus on getting right in front of your face and holding for a second, and then coming down nice and slow. You guys are doing great. Make sure to keep your abs nice and tight and be sure to breathe. Let's do one more. And nice and slow down, and then a minute of cardio. All right, it's time to do jumping jacks. Ready, go. Good job. To make this a little bit easier, you can just kind of do jumping jacks without moving your legs, just moving your arms. Yeah, just like that. And of course, you can vary the intensity or how fast you go. If you want to make them more difficult, you can really increase the speed or even add some jumps in between. Yeah, just like that. That'll really get tough. That'll be tough to maintain, but you can alternate it throughout this workout. You guys are doing really good. You're almost halfway there. Good job. And after you've caught your breath, you can go back to normal jumping jacks. Good job. You guys got just about 20 seconds more. Let's finish up strong. Good, so you can go 5 seconds of really pushing yourself. And then back to going a little bit slower. Yeah, just keep alternating. You have less than 10 seconds. You guys are doing great. Finish strong with these jumping jacks. 5 seconds left. Good job. 3, 2, 1, and let's move on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called lying hip raises, also known as bridges. It's for your hips, your quadriceps, and your buttocks. Let's go ahead and get started. So you can see they're laying on their back with their feet in front of them, their arms to their side, And when they raise up, they really want to push through their heels all the way up and then down nice and slow. Now to make this a little bit easier, you can just hold in an isometric position just like this. And if you need to take a little bit of a break, that's totally fine. And Pam, if you want to make it a little bit challenging, you can raise your leg as you do this. Good. And then alternate the other leg. Excellent. Just do a couple more. You guys are doing great. And let's move on to the next minute of cardio. All right, let's do bench step-ups and ready, go. You can see Pam here has got a pretty high bench, so it's going to be pretty challenging for her. But make sure that your toes do not go over your toes. You're standing straight up and then back down nice and slow. Ken's making it a little bit easier by having a lot shorter bench. You can use something like a foam book or any level of bench you want. You can even use the stairs at your house. Just modify this exercise depending on how high the bench is, the harder it will be. And if you need to make it more challenging, you can increase the speed. Or if you need to make it easier, you can even go slower. You can even at a point, if this gets too challenging, just march in place. That's totally fine. You have about 20 seconds left. You're doing really great. Good job. Now if Pam gets too tired after going this tall bench the entire time, she could then just march in place, like she's doing. You guys have less than 10 seconds left and you're doing really good. 3 seconds left. Finish up strong. 1, and that's it. Let's go on to the next exercise. This exercise is called Superman's. It is for your core and particularly your lower back. As you can see, they're laying down on their stomachs with their arms straight ahead of them. And go ahead and let's raise up in the Superman position. They're bringing both their feet and their hands up as high as they can, holding for just a brief second and then coming down slow. Now if this is a little bit too challenging, you can just do your legs, so you can keep your front down on the ground and he's just raising his legs. Or if you need to take a little break, that's totally fine too. Pam here, to make it a little bit more challenging, she's gonna raise up, pause for a second or two, and then come back extra slow, just like that. So come up, pause for a second or two, and then come back super slow. All right, let's just do a few more reps. You guys are doing great. You really feel this in all your lower back and your core here. So one more repetition. Good, let's do 1 minute of cardio. Okay, on to toe touches and go. You can either alternate touching your toes just like this or touch both of them just like Pam's doing here. To make it a little bit easier, you can just go down not quite as far, just touch your shins maybe, or even just touch your knees. And of course you can even go slower or take a break if you need to. Go at your own pace. If you need to make it a little bit more challenging, you can raise your hands all the way up and go all the way down, touch the ground, raise up. And if you really want to make it challenging, you can even jump at the end. So good job. You guys are halfway there. You got 30 seconds. You can alternate the different ways you do it. Sometimes you might want to go all the way down and touch your toes. Next time you might want to just touch your shins. Then the third time just touch your knees. And you can vary the speed as well. Kind of mix it up. You have just 15 seconds left. You guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. All right, you have just 10 seconds now. Finish strong. You're doing really well. Good. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Let's move on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called lying tricep extensions. You want to either lie on the ground with the resistance bands behind the upper part of your upper back, or you can lie on a bench with dumbbells, and you just want to raise your hands up so they're directly above your face with your elbows in, and you just want to lower your hands back down to next to your forehead and then straight up, keeping your elbows at the same spot the entire time. Good, you can see that she's not moving her elbows at all. She's just targeting her triceps, the back of her arm. If you need to make this a little bit easier, you can adjust the positions on the resistance band to make it lighter, or just take a break in between. That's totally fine. If you need to make it a little bit harder, you can use a little bit heavier dumbbells. But this is a pretty challenging exercise, so you don't want to go too heavy. So they're coming down nice and slow, keeping their elbow at that same position the entire time. Good job. Let's do one more after this, nice and slow down, and extend all the way up. Good, now let's go do a minute of cardio. All right, let's do burpees. And go ahead and go. Go ahead and kick your feet out and jump high to the sky, just like they're doing. Excellent, just like that. Good, if you need to make this a little bit easier, this is a pretty challenging exercise. You can just reach to the sky and then do toe touches. So go ahead and show them how to do that, Ken, just like that. Yeah, and if you need to make it a little bit even easier, you can not even reach for the sky, or just, yeah, toe touch, and you can even go slower, just like that. Or you can also take a break. If you need to make it more challenging, you can even include a push-up, like Pam's doing, or even jump higher. Now this exercise is really challenging, so it's gonna be pretty tough to do normal type of burpees for a full minute. So if you need to modify them, just like Pam and Ken are doing, you can just do toe touches and jump to the sky just like this. The key is just modifying it to your own fitness level. Go at your own pace. We only have 5 more seconds left. You're doing great. 2, 1, and that's it. Let's go to the next resistance exercise. All right, this exercise is called push-up isometrics. It is for your chest. Go ahead and get in the push-up position, and we're just gonna hold it here the entire time. Of course, this is a pretty challenging exercise, so if you need to, you can go ahead and drop down to your knees and just hold this. Is not only gonna work your chest, but your shoulders and triceps as well. And if you have to, you can go ahead and take a break too. If it's a little too challenging, that's totally fine. If you wanna make this a little bit more challenging, you can go ahead and lower yourself and hold in this position. Good. And so we're just gonna hold this in an isometric position for just 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and back up. And let's go do a minute of cardio. All right, now let's march in place. Ready, set, go. Good job. Now, if you need to make this easier, you can not, bring your knees up quite as high, or just even go slower. If you need to take a break and even shake your legs out, that's totally fine. Go at your own pace. If you need to make it a little bit more difficult, you can actually start jogging in place. You can do high knees, really bring those knees up high. You can do butt kicks, just like that. Good. Yeah, and be sure to just kind of vary this. This can kind of get boring throughout the full minute. So if you want to vary to do some high knees, to jogging in place, to then butt kicks, to then taking a break if you need to, that's totally fine. Go at your own pace, but also push yourself. You guys are doing really well. You have less than 20 seconds. All right, let's finish strong. Good job. If you need to make it easier, you can not bring your knees up quite as high. You have less than 10 seconds. 5 seconds left. You guys are doing really good. 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Let's move on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called flutter kicks, and it is for your abdominal muscles. Go ahead and get started. And to make them a little bit easier, you can raise your legs just a little bit higher like this, and just go back and forth. You want your hands by your side underneath your buttocks and keep your abs nice and tight. To make them a little bit more difficult, you can have your legs closer to the ground like this. And again, just going back and forth, keeping your abs nice and tight, your hands by your side, and your back straight. And if you need to, you can take a little break and relax. Go at your own pace. Good. And you can vary the height as well. You can go a little bit higher. If you want it to go a little bit challenging, if you find that's a little too easy, you can go a little bit lower. Good, just like that. And so that is flutter kicks for your abdominal muscles. Now let's get back to 1 minute of cardio. All right, let's do 1 minute of jumping jacks. Go ahead and get started. And I want you to modify the intensity specific to your fitness level. You can either increase the intensity by going faster or adding in some jumps if you need to. Or if you want to decrease the intensity, you can do them a little bit slower, or even just use your arms, or even do half jacks. The key is modifying it to your fitness level. Keep up the good work, you're doing great. Now for those of you who are just doing the 15-minute workout, I've got good news for you. You only have about 40 more seconds left in this workout. You've already trained each of your major muscle groups and included cardio as well. For the remainder of this 1 minute of cardio, just continue doing jumping jacks, and then I want you to do about 2 to 3 minutes of a cool down, either by doing jumping jacks or some light cardio exercise like toe touches, marching in place, anything like that that gradually decreases the intensity over the next 2 to 3 minutes. Next, I strongly recommend you stretch each of your major muscle groups by clicking the stretching link below and following the recommended stretches. This is going to decrease your muscle soreness and the risk of injury. And finally, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back because you just completed the 15-minute workout. You did a really great job. I'm really proud of you and so glad you joined us. I look forward to you being on the next workout. And for those of you that are continuing on to the 22-minute workout or the 30-minute workout, continue on. We're almost there and we're going to move on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called the concentration curl. It is for your biceps. Let's go ahead and get started by sitting on a chair or a bench like this with your feet out in front of you. Plenty of room in your elbow on the inner side of your thigh. And you just want to curl up, all the way up, keeping your elbow at the same spot the entire time. and then coming down nice and slow. All the way up and then nice and slow. So your elbow isn't moving around, it's staying in that stable position. That's really gonna work your biceps. Good, and if you need to make this a little bit easier, you can lessen the resistance by moving the resistance underneath your foot, just like Ken is doing. Perfect. If you need to make it a little bit more challenging by using the dumbbells, you just increase the weight. All right, we're gonna switch to the other arm because we gotta do about 10 repetitions each arm. And have your elbow on the inner side of your thigh, and you're just curling up, holding for a second, and coming down nice and slow. That's perfect. And if you need to adjust the weight during the middle of the exercise, that's totally fine. You can lessen the resistance, or you could even drop down the weight to be a little bit lighter. Or if this is a little bit too easy and you want to make it more challenging, you just increase the weight. You guys are doing great. So they're really holding for a second, really flexing their bicep at the top end, and then coming back nice and slow all the way down. Good job. You guys are almost done. Excellent, good work. Let's do one more, and then we'll go on to 1 more minute of cardio. All right, now let's do total body extensions for 1 minute. Let's go now. Good, so they're just crouching down, touching their shins and reaching up as high as they can, and then squatting down, touching their shins all the way up. To make this a little bit easier, you don't have to go all the way down. You could just kind of touch your waist and then just go up. Or even just march in place, whatever, just keep your heart rate going the entire time. To make this harder, you can go faster, really increase the speed, and even do some jumps. And you can even go all the way down and touch your toes if you want, and jump really high, increase the speed. This is gonna be really tough to maintain for the full minute, so you can vary the intensity if you need to. Yeah, just go back to the other way. You guys are doing great. You have just 15 seconds left. Good job. Use really good form. Make sure your knees never go forward above your toes. And you have just 5 seconds left. You're doing great. Finish strong. 2, 1, and that's it. Let's move on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called lateral raise. It is for your shoulders. You want to stand about shoulder width apart and either have resistance bands underneath your feet like Ken has, or dumbbells in your hands. And you want to keep your elbows slightly bent like this, hands to your side, and you just want to raise up with your palms facing the ground till your hands are about shoulder width height, and then hold for a second and then down nice and slow. So up, keeping your elbows the same angle of bent the entire time. Hold for a second and then down nice and slow. Now to make this a little bit easier, you just grab lighter resistance bands, or adjust your feet position, or if you need to take a break, that's totally fine. And to make this more challenging, you just use heavier weights, but make sure that you use good form the entire time. Really keep your abs tight and your back straight, and just have your hands come up to about shoulder width apart, and then back down nice and slow. Let's do one more. All the way up, down nice and slow, and 1 more minute of cardio. All right, let's do mountain climbers and go. This is a pretty challenging exercise. So if you need to make this a little bit easier, you can go slower, or even just alternate your feet. Yeah, just one at a time, just like Ken's doing, just like that. And if you need to take a break, that's totally fine. Most people probably will. This is a challenging exercise. If you need to make this more challenging, you can really increase the speed, just like Pam's doing. Though this will be tough to maintain. You can always do what's called interval training, so that 5 seconds you're going really fast, then a couple seconds you're taking a break, then another few seconds you're going really slow. Just go at your own pace. Now you guys got a little more than 20 seconds left. You're doing great. If you need to take a break, that's totally fine. Keep up the good work and really breathe. Good job. Finish strong. You're doing great. You got 10 seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Let's go on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called tricep extension. You can either use dumbbells or resistance bands. You want to go ahead and put your hands up above your head with your elbows to the side of your head, just like this. And you want to keep your elbows there the entire time. So go ahead and lower down your hands and keep your elbow here the entire time, so it's almost like a hinge. You're just dropping your hands behind your head and then up. Good job. Perfect. Make sure that you keep your abs nice and tight and your back straight. And if you need to make this a little bit easier, you can use lighter resistance bands or take a break halfway through. And to make it a little bit more challenging, since we're using weights, we can just use a little bit heavier weight. But make sure you use really good form. Come back nice and slow and keep your elbow there the entire time. Good, let's do one more. Excellent. Now let's go do another minute of cardio. Okay, let's do 1 minute of jogging in place, modifying it to your fitness level. Go ahead and get started, guys. You can jog a little bit faster to increase the intensity, or even do high knees, or even butt kicks, or you can vary them to continually increasing the intensity, or to make it a little bit easier, you can just march in place. Again, just do whatever is at your own fitness level. Go at your own pace. Now, for those of you just doing the 22-minute workout, you are almost done. You only have about 40 to 45 seconds left. You've done each of your major muscle groups, plus 3 more large muscle groups the second time around, and cardio, of course. So after this 1 minute of cardio, I want you to cool down, just do 2 to 3 more minutes of continuing to jog in place, and then I want you to stretch each of your major muscle groups by clicking the link below and doing those recommended stretches. All right, and you've just completed this 22-minute workout. Way to go, I'm so proud of you. You did a really great job. I'm so glad you joined us today and look forward to seeing you on the next workout video. For those of you that are continuing on to the 30-minute workout, keep going strong. You have just 8 minutes left. We're gonna continue doing the rest of the 4 major muscle groups and doing cardio in between. So keep up the good work and let's move on to the next exercise. All right, this next exercise is called double arm row. It is for both your upper back and lower back. We'll have Ken here gonna use resistance bands and Pam is gonna demonstrate with dumbbells. You wanna go ahead and have your feet shoulder width apart and then bend down and still have a nice arch in your back so you're not hunched over. You have a nice straight back there, and go ahead and pull your elbows up to your side and then down nice and slow. Good, and what you wanna think of is not your arms doing the movement, but rather your back pulling the weight up. So think of, you got my hand right there in your shoulder blades and you're pulling up with your shoulder blades, squeezing and holding for a second and then coming back nice and slow. If you need to make this a little bit easier, you can have less resistance, so just hold further away, or even without resistance is fine too. If you need to make it a little bit more challenging, you use heavier weights. So you guys are doing excellent form. Let's do 2 more repetitions. Nice and slow down all the way up. Great, now let's do 1 more minute of cardio. All right, now let's march in place, ready, set, go. Good job. Now if you need to make this easier, you can not bring your knees up quite as high or just even go slower. If you need to take a break and even shake your legs out, that's totally fine. Go at your own pace. If you need to make it a little bit more difficult, you can actually start jogging in place. You can do high knees, really bring those knees up high. You can do butt kicks, just like that. Good. Yeah, and be sure to just kind of vary this. This can kind of get boring throughout the full minute. So if you want to vary to do some high knees, to jogging in place, to then butt kicks, to then taking a break if you need to, that's totally fine. Go at your own pace, but also push yourself. You guys are doing really well. You have less than 20 seconds. All right, let's finish strong. Good job. If you need to make it easier, you can not bring your knees up quite as high. You have less than 10 seconds. 5 seconds left. You guys are doing really good. 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Let's move on to the next exercise. All right, the next exercise is called wall sits. You want to go ahead and have your feet in front of you, have your back against the wall. We're just kind of using this pillar, but you should use a flat wall and just squat down so that your legs are about parallel to the ground, just like this. Great, and if that's a little bit too challenging, you can come up a little bit and hold right there. Or if you need to, you can even take a little break if you have to. Great, and Pam, if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can do what's called alternate kicks, just like that. So she's alternating the legs in front of her, and she can even make it more challenging by doing alternate toe touches, just like that. Good, you're doing great. Now this is for your entire legs, your quadriceps, hamstrings, and buttocks, and you're doing great. Let's go 5 more seconds. Excellent. Now that is wall sits. Now we'll go on to 1 minute of cardio. All right, now let's jump rope and ready, go. And if you don't have a jump rope, if this is a little bit too difficult, it's a pretty challenging exercise to do for a full minute, you can just kind of simulate it without a rope. So as you can see, Ken here, he's just kind of jumping and moving his arms. That's great. You're doing really good. If you need to make it easier, you can just kind of march in place and move your hands. The key thing is not necessarily doing this exercise perfect. It's totally fine if you don't know how to jump rope. The key thing is keeping your heart rate up the entire time. Pam's doing really good. Of course, to make it more challenging, she can go faster or double jumps or whatever she needs. And that's totally fine. Keep up the good work. You can even do jumping jacks. You can march in place. You can do toe touches. The key thing again is keeping your heart rate up the entire 1 minute. And you have just 15 seconds left to go. You're doing really great. Let's try to go a little bit faster for 5 more seconds. Good job. In these last 6 seconds, you can start slowing it down a little bit. You got 3 seconds. Good job, finish strong, and let's go on to the next exercise. All right, this exercise is called flies. It is for your chest. You can either lay on the ground and use resistance bands. Of course, you can also use a bench with these resistance bands, or use dumbbells while laying on a bench. Either one works totally fine. Let's go ahead and get up. You want to keep your elbows nice and slightly bent, just like this, and lower it down, and then back up so your hands are almost touching. Good. You can see that Ken's holding the resistance bands a little bit closer up, farther away from the handle, so there's a little bit more resistance. And it's important that this resistance band is on the outside of your elbow so that you have resistance the entire time. Notice that his elbows are slightly bent. He's coming up and he's squeezing and then coming back nice and slow. Same with Pam, same motion. All the way up, squeezing, and then coming back nice and slow. Good. You guys are doing great. To make this a little bit easier, of course, you just use lighter resistance, or to make this more challenging, you just use heavier dumbbells. Let's use 1 more repetition. And now let's go do a minute of cardio. All right, now let's jog in place and go. Good job. If you need to make this a little bit easier, you can just kind of march in place. Just like this. Of course, at any time you can rest and take a break if you need to. It's very important that you just go at your own pace, but you also want to push yourself. If you need to make it a little bit more challenging, you can go faster, really jog in place fast. Good job. Or you can do high knees. That increases the intensity considerably. Or do what's called butt kicks. Good job. And you can vary these so that the whole minute doesn't get boring. Kind of alternate between jogging in place fast, doing some high knees, doing some butt kicks. If that gets too difficult, you can march in place. You guys are doing great. You have less than 20 seconds left. Keep up the good work. Good job. 15 seconds left. Good. At any time if you need to take a break, that's totally fine, but really push yourself for this minute. You got less than 10 seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Good job. On to the next exercise. All right, this next exercise is called planks for your abdominals and entire core. Let's go ahead and get started. You want to rise up on your forearms and on your toes, keeping your back totally straight and your abs tight. This is a tough one. To make it a little bit easier, you can go down on your knees, just like Ken's doing here, or if you need to, you can even take a little break. Now, to make them a little bit more challenging if you need to, you can do what's called a lateral arm reach and raise out for a few seconds, and then alternate other side. Good, just a few more seconds. You're doing great. And that's it. Let's go back to 1 minute of cardio. All right, back to 1 minute of cardio. Go ahead and get started. Do whatever cardio exercise suits you. You can do whatever you prefer. High knees, jumping jacks, running in place, toe touches, whatever you want to do for this final minute of cardio, because guess what? You are almost done with this workout. You have just 40 seconds left in this workout before you get to your cool down and then stretch. You've now gone through each of the major muscle groups twice now for a really effective full body workout routine with fat burning cardio. You should feel really good about completing this workout because not only did you complete the full 30 minutes, it was also a really well balanced routine targeting each of the 7 major muscle groups and doing different exercises than your previous workout and different exercises in the next workout that we'll have you doing next time, which is really important. All right, finish up strong. You only have about 25 seconds left before I want you to cool down using light cardio for about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then click the link below for some really good stretches. You're doing great. Only about 15 more seconds. Keep up the good work. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7. You're doing excellent. Good job, guys. You're almost done. And 3, 2, 1. Excellent job. Good job, everyone. I'm really proud of you. You did a great job. You made it through the 30-minute workout routine. So proud of you. Keep up the good work, and we look forward to seeing you in our next workout routine.